These last couple years in all the matches, I've been trying to take them in as best I can. I feel like I've just like accomplished more than anything I thought I was going to. Get a call from Tom out of the blue. He goes, "How would you like to wrestle me this Sunday?" We were put together as kind of like a throwaway tag team. Aaron came to me and he's like, "We got to do something with this." Rightfully, he gets inducted in the Hall of Fame there. Absolutely honored when I was asked to induct him. There was something there. Stetson is hungry. The talent I'm in this ring with, I'm looking around. I'm like, what am I doing here? And it turned into one of those friendships where I was seeing him every single day. We just could not stop talking and watching wrestling. So we were actually brought in originally to be Team Waters, and I love it with Bacon. Everything was perfect. Last match will be April 26th.
Yeah.
PvP's 10-year anniversary show against the Upgrade J Tunis. We actually got a cease and desist.
Ladies and gentlemen, hosted by Coach C, Chris Sanders, this is Best for Business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I'm absolutely pumped for this one. I told this guy earlier, it's crazy. I remember one of my first few shows going, getting to draw a picture of the closers, and now we're making it happen. I know you don't do many often, but Hammer Tunis, man, thank you for joining me for this one.
Pleasure's all mine, Chris. Thank you for having me, buddy.
I am absolutely pumped. I couldn't believe the news when I heard it. We're going to talk about it later on. Hammer Tunis is officially calling it a career in pro wrestling. I don't know how well retirements go, but let's start at the beginning. Now, you've talked about it before. You told me amateur wrestling is huge. So when did that come into play? How much of a passion did you have for that? And how easy/hard was it to make that transition to pro wrestling?
So I was a WWF fan first, right?
Yeah.
And as a kid, I remember I'm in fourth grade and we're standing in line going to gym class or something. I hear two kids talk about they just had a wrestling camp in town. And one kid's like, "Yeah, I almost pinned you, but then you got me." Like, they got me all excited about it. And I went home. I'm like, "Dad, there's wrestling coming up. Like, there's about to be a youth team." This is 97,
Yeah.
prime attitude era,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And, I'm thinking it's like WWF style wrestling or whatever.
Yeah.
And my dad kind of gives me the clue in, like, no, it's not like that. It's more Olympic style, and shows me a little bit. And I fell in love with that sport. I went there, I was very good at it right away.
Yeah.
And had some early success. It's a hard sport. If you're not successful, like, it's so hard that if you're not getting those wins and reaping any benefits from it, a lot of people don't stick around, right?
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to be successful early. And I kind of just got hooked from there.
Yeah.
I wrestled all throughout youth, 4 years in youth, and then all throughout high school. Immediately went into coaching right after high school.
Nice.
So 4 years of that. I went to a school that didn't have college wrestling. So,
Yeah.
um, but that's cool. And I learned a lot coaching. I had fantastic coaches. And so it's always just been part of me.
Yeah.
Um, the pro wrestling was like a total happenstance. I was at Wildwood, New Jersey. I went on vacation with a friend of mine and his family, and we were in Wildwood, New Jersey, and we're walking down the boardwalk, and we see a sign for beach wrestling featuring King Kong Bundy and the
Wow.
Patriot, not the original, not Del Wilkes, the original Patriot, but
Yeah.
King Kong Bundy, $5, right?
Yeah.
What to do tonight? So $5, and we went down there, got an awesome show. $5 to get in the ring and meet King Kong Bundy. Cool. Go in, get in the ring and meet King Kong Bundy. And that picture's floating around somewhere. Um, and it just got my brain going that night.
Yeah.
And me stayed up all night getting excited, talking about wrestling, and I was starting to get back into it. Honestly, I stopped watching wrestling throughout most of high school,
Yeah.
sports or whatever. It's just here at school all day, and then I'm at sports until night. I do a little homework. I'm not like clocking in 9 to 11 for Raw anymore.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
had enough, but not every week. Um, and now, I'm out of high school and I'm starting to get back into it a little bit more. And this night happens, and um, my buddy starts poking at me, "Man, you should get in there and you should go give it a shot. I heard there's a school around the corner." I grew up in Ludlow. Palmer is one exit away off the Mass Pike.
Wow.
Um, and that's where Thomas Santell and Antonio Thomas,
Yeah.
just pretty fresh out of the WWE. He was running a school down there alongside with Kevin Landry.
Nice.
Um, and I went down there and met those guys and took a look at it, and my life changed that day.
So I'm curious, like right now I'm a sophomore in college, but for you, when you were graduating high school, did you have a goal? Like, was wrestling even considered when you were graduating high school?
Never would have thought of it, dude.
Yeah.
Never would have thought of it. I didn't even really know there were like indie things around, right? So I graduated in 2005.
I was born that year. That's crazy.
There you go. Right, thanks, man. I started wrestling in 2009 professionally, right? So
Yeah.
I did not know about a lot of independent wrestling. Luckily enough, Tom Antonio Thomas, his cousin went to school with me and was telling me about how he had a brother, a cousin on Raw, and I flip it on and I see the heartthrobs there on Raw and find out this guy lives right next door and has a school right next door. I got very fortunate with where I lived and learning that information. But dude, if I was a kid and I had seen a flyer somewhere that there was live pro wrestling, regardless of who it was,
Yeah.
if I've ever seen something like that, independent wrestling around, I guarantee I would have grabbed my dad and begged him and dragged him to the show. We would have had a
Yeah.
great time. And it's hard to get the word out. You think if you put up a million flyers or post things on Facebook, there's so many people out there
Yeah.
that don't know about it. Um, yeah. So what was your question?
No, you pretty much covered it, but like I was asking post high school what your plan was, but you pretty much covered it. You didn't even consider pro wrestling at the time.
Never, man. I was going to college. I got a criminal justice degree that I did nothing with.
Wow.
Um, I was coaching wrestling,
Yeah.
and again, it was like this one night. Like I never thought about it before. I'm walking down the beach in New Jersey and
Yeah.
see King Kong Bundy.
Yeah.
And what a gentleman. He was such a cool guy. Took a couple minutes, talked with everybody, joked around. So that was a really cool experience. Um, and dude, like we stayed up all night just talking wrestling and poking at me. And then the other big one is AJ Cruz,
Nice.
who,
Yeah.
who if you ask anybody who's worked with AJ around, they will tell you AJ is one of the best and one of their favorite people to work with. He's awesome.
Nice.
AJ is a guy who didn't get out and get around a lot.
Yeah.
He had a family early and he was content and happy staying here in the Western Mass area and staying local and just having great matches and being a great guy to work with. He's somebody that if you'd seen him making the rounds a little bit earlier, maybe you would have got a little bit more buzz and could have been 10 years ago who's Ichiban or something of
Yeah.
that. And he's good. AJ is a childhood friend of mine. We were on the youth team together all throughout high school. He had moved to Florida for a little bit and started training and had just come back right around the same time. And so now he's poking at me, hey man, you got to come down and try to get in the business. It was just the perfect blend of timing and the right people in my ear and
Yeah.
me looking for something to do too, right? Because
Nice.
I've always done sports since I was 6 years old. I like to compete. I
Yeah.
wasn't competing in college anymore, so this filled a void for me there too.
Was it easy making the transition from amateur wrestling to pro wrestling?
Uh, so like in the ring, I have a very big advantage, right? My footwork was pretty good right away. I
Yeah.
could do all the holds right away. I was also a lifelong fan too, so like that's double whammy. Um, but I could do like every bump day one.
Nice.
I remember Tom going through all the bumps and I'm doing them, and Kevin Landry comes walking in halfway through practice, and Kevin, look at this. He's flip bump, headstand bump, and all these things that take people some time.
Yeah.
The thing I struggled with the most was that looseness of professional wrestling,
Yeah.
right? Because you can call it fake. That term doesn't bother me. I would compare pro wrestling more to like a sparring match than I would fake
Yeah.
or that I would a live boxing match, right?
Yeah.
But we're in there and we're hitting each other with stuff. Are we trying to kill each other? No,
No.
but we're not trying to make it look weak. So it's a very physical, athletic contest, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, and so me as an amateur wrestler, everything's really tight. Everything's hard and go, go, go. And so for me to loosen up and do things loose and still have it look like it's tight and impactful, that was a little bit of a transition problem for me.
Yeah.
I'd say anybody who amateur wrestle probably has an advantage coming in
Yeah.
terms of the technical stuff there.
So when you talk Thomas Santell or Kevin Landry, and obviously you transition from amateur to pro wrestling, but just in general in life, I feel like, what do you think are some of the biggest lessons you learned from those guys?
They were both awesome.
Nice.
I kind of a very small window. Tom had just gotten out of the WWE. Originally, I guess Aaron Morrison had kind of been like the trainer over at Kevin's school and leading the charge. He was stepping away as Tom was coming back. I did get a good chunk of Kevin in there and a lot of one-on-one practices. We didn't have a big school.
Mhm.
So this was like when you remember the dungeon match?
Yeah.
With
Oh yeah.
Rock and Owen, right? And they hype up Stu Hart's dungeon match, right? And all it
Yeah.
is, it's like daylight during the match. And they go down into this nice finished basement,
Yeah.
right? Shining through. It's like really hot, right? It's not down there. Like
Yeah.
this dungeon. Dude, we chained in a dungeon.
Wow.
Like this dirty mill building all the way at the end of the hall. There's no heater or air conditioning. We were running the illegal like fire propane heaters in
Yeah.
there. Dude, we have bats. Like
How
bats interrupting practice, flying down or ducking. Oh, watch out for the bats. All right,
many
no.
students are training with you at the time?
When I started, we let's say there were 10 to 15,
That's still good. Yeah.
and let's say there were 5 to 8 of those that were taking it serious, and then maybe five that were every practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was there were some good guys that were one practice a week. We were running two practices and then an optional third.
Yeah.
Um, Not many people were taking advantage of that. I did.
Yeah.
Um, if we had three practice options, I was there every single weekend. I was there every Tuesday and Thursday, whatever it be. Um, and not a lot of other people were. So I got a lot of one-on-one time in
Nice.
practice, especially on those optional practices. There'd be days I'd show up. It was literally just me and Tom.
Wow.
So, okay, we're gonna work out for 2 hours, and I'm a month in, and I'm training for 2 straight hours one-on-one with a guy who just came out of the WWE and has been to Japan and
Yeah.
very, very, very talented wrestler. I've had practices like that with Kevin. He's really good with fundamentals and footwork. Um, but the biggest thing is like both of them were very, very respectful of the craft. Like when you're in there,
Yeah.
you are on your footwork's right, you're in the right position because like our lives are on the right line, right?
Yeah.
You take
Absolutely.
care of ourselves, but take care of other people more so.
Yeah.
Uh, so just the seriousness, I guess, of being technically proficient in the ring. A lot of people come in and like the important things are the selling and the character work, and those are important. Those are what make money.
Yeah.
Um, but if you can't get through a match and you can't take care of somebody and you're limited in that aspect, then you're kind of a liability in the ring. So, that was a big takeaway I got and I've always instilled and kept with me. Um, and I'm proud of that
Yeah.
aspect.
So
You
you
know,
talk about Thomas Santell having that one-on-one time a lot of times, putting in the work, making the transition from amateur to pro wrestling. But walk me through that first match. What's going through your mind when you wrestle Thomas Santell one-on-one?
I shit my pants.
Yeah.
I
How
started
far is it from when
training.
you start training?
Yeah, so I start training. I'm coaching wrestling, and our season ends like the end of February.
Yeah.
And so February, I'm starting to go to the school. Like the last few weeks, it slows down a little bit. We have like postseason stuff, and I start going and I'm training there February.
Yeah.
Um, and there was actually a day there was a practice, and Dr. Heresy and Marshall McNeil and
Oh
Johnny
yeah.
Idol and all these like Billy King, all these like really, really well respected, established guys were there at practice just watching. And Tom goes around and he takes all the students, he pulls names out of hats for random matches. And he pulls me out with this kid, first match on the fly, no preparation. Nobody's assigned heel or face, nothing. Just two
Yeah.
kids who have never had a match before get in the ring and go put on a match in front of us. Um, and whatever it be, I was lucky enough. I had worked with this kid and trained with
Yeah.
him all. And we knew our roles. I knew I was going to be a heel here, but that kind of put me in the position to lead, which I shouldn't have been doing. But we got through a really good like practice match, especially for our limited experience. And all these guys were really excited for us and putting us over about it. Um, and a couple days later, I'm driving and I get a call from Tom out of the blue. And I was, Tom, what's up? He's like, hey, you've been doing great at practice. You're there every day. You're getting through good practice matches. There's really nothing left for you to do but to put in action in front of a crowd. And I'm like, oh, cool. And he goes, how would you like to wrestle me this Sunday? I
Wow.
got like a 6 day notice.
Yeah.
Uh, how would you like to wrestle me this Sunday? Yeah, I jumped at the chance. Was
Yeah.
so excited. Go sell some tickets. I sold like 10 tickets that week.
Nice. Your
Um,
hometown or
yeah, it was pretty close. It was over in
nice.
Springfield, Mass. I sold 10 of like the 20 tickets sold there. So I was pretty over. And
Yeah.
Tom got me through a very easy, simple, quality professional wrestling match where he
Nice.
allowed me a chance to expose myself. It was really simple and clean. I got a nice little standing O because he left me the ring after the match, which was really sweet of him.
Yeah.
So and what a talent, right? I hear people, what was your first match? I was in a battle royal.
Yeah.
I had to wrestle these guys that I
Birthday
prefer.
parties or things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine's as good as can be. So it
Nice.
was very exciting. Um, and then it's kind of like, once you have your first match and your trainers release you, it's off to the races. Go get booked.
Yeah. So what
So
about this? Early in your career, you did something that a lot of people say they can't. You got to wrestle Koko Beware pretty early in your career. Him and Alpha Jr.
you went for it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to know about that
How
situation?
was that experience? Because I don't think like anybody I've interviewed, I've done like 50 interviews so far, nobody can say that experience they've had.
Oh, dude. So somebody out there that knows me is laughing right now while you're watching this. Like, yes, Coco Beware. I still get ribbed about it.
Wow.
I was really excited for that.
Yeah.
I was really excited going into that. And the match was supposed to be me and Aaron Morrison when we were teaming as the
Purists.
Purists.
Yeah.
And we were getting pushed as like the top tag team over at that promotion. And Congo. Wildman
Oh
Congo,
yeah.
who pushed hard as a singles guy. So, your top singles heel and your top heel tag team.
Yeah.
And it's six man with Coco Beware, Alpha Jr., and the Big O, like Zach or whatever.
Yeah.
This super face team, whatever. Who cares about that? But I was excited. Alpha Jr. had just kind of left Raw like recently. He was on
Yeah.
Raw. Things didn't work out, but he was there. And Coco Beware is a Hall of Famer and a hell of a talent, whether you think he should be a Hall of Famer or not.
Yeah.
So I was really excited about this. Now, something happened. Aaron broke his nose or something in a match like leading up to this and had to go get, I busted, you had to go get rhinoplasty. Did
Okay.
a nose job, right?
Yeah.
So he had to pull from this match. And Chris Camaro, who was also like the booker promoter at the time, and he didn't really have any other option, had to fill in. I think if Aaron is there, this night goes a little bit different because you have a 20-year veteran and he might have gained a little bit more respect. But we call a little simple, easy, old school match in the back, like very basic and simple.
6-man tag too, pretty easy.
Yeah. And we go out there first and these guys hit their music hits and they come charging swinging chairs into the ring just out of nowhere. I'm like 2 years in.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed in the city. I'm processing all of this. I'm not really getting beat up yet, but like I'm processing all of this.
Yeah.
And they're like swinging at us. Um, the point when I knew when I was like, what is going on here is I look up and Coco Beware is standing above me outside the ring, slamming the steel steps onto me.
Wow. Yeah.
And I roll out of the way. He misses, but there's no call. He's not like move out of the way, kid. Nothing. He's trying to throw. And then he grabs a full Coca-Cola can out of somebody's hand and smashes it over Congo's head.
Wow.
And I'm looking at Chris Camaro and I'm like, what's going on here, buddy? He's like, I don't know. I don't know. So I run into the ring and I punch Coco in the back of the head, and that's the cutoff.
Yeah.
Little heat. So right now I'm only mad at Coco at this point.
Yeah.
Then I'm in there with Alpha Jr. Like, all right, we got Coco out of there. He took the heat. We're going in there with the other guys. Let's try to recoup this. And Alpha takes me down and goes to give me a kick in the back.
Yeah.
And he gives me a like straight pointy toe,
Yeah.
right small of my back. Like my legs go completely numb in the middle of the match. Just completely unsafe. Like
Yeah.
he had 300, probably close to a 400-pound Samoan at that time. He was pretty large. But like he's not throwing the kick right anyway, too. He knows what he's doing. So, match ends and I am just like irate. I'm just irate. Because it was dangerous. And
Yeah.
it's not anything we talked about and whatever. So I go to the back and everybody knows I'm fuming, and somehow I'm standing over these guys. Right? This is 6'5", like giant dude and a Hall of Famer, and I am laying into them. And they're like, what did we do? That's just working, brother. I was like, your family would be ashamed of you if you think that's working.
Yeah.
I bounced from the show, and then Alpha call or not Alpha, Coco blew up my cell phone for like the next 3 days.
Wow.
Finally answered. I'm like, I'm at Six Flags, dude. Leave me alone. I had
Yeah.
nothing to do. So Coco Beware is a sensitive topic. I don't like Coco
Yeah.
Beware, and I don't have a problem saying it.
So you talk about earlier Aaron. So I'm curious, when you talk about the Purists and everything, do you remember that first interaction you had with them?
I actually, so like I said, AJ Cruz was a friend of mine. He had
Yeah.
done a show in the area before I started training, and I went down to see him. And Aaron was on that card also. I had met Aaron a couple times
Nice.
before I'd started training. And then he was a guy who would come down and help out while I was training. So we had a little bit of a relationship. We weren't
Yeah.
close or anything, but I knew who he was and I had good respect for him. We were put together as kind of like a throwaway tag team.
Wow.
Doc Harris, was bringing back the AEWA, and Kevin Landry was going to be helping him and using some guys from the school, which would be me.
Yeah.
But Aaron, who was thinking about stepping out a little bit, they kind of asked Aaron, "Hey, do you mind teaming up with him for a few shows?"
Now,
Just
does Scott King or Adam Booker have any hand in EWA at the time, or just Heresy?
they're just around. Adam Booker,
Okay.
they've just been around. Scott, I've known forever.
Yeah.
It was a number of years between seeing him, and now I feel like I see him every once. Scott King, you're the man. What's up,
Yeah, I
buddy?
love him. He's the
And
best.
Adam Booker, yeah, Adam Booker's another good one. He does a lot of good for young guys in the area too.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, it was just a happenstance. It wasn't meant to be anything. They threw us. We're going to use you guys as a team for a couple shows.
Yeah.
And Aaron came to me and he's like, "We got to do something with this." And he's like, "The way you wrestle and the way let's do an old school gimmick." I got to give full credit to him. Old school gimmick, yeah, sounds good. I agree. How do you feel about the name the Purists? Like we're wrestling purists. I think that's awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
cool. Let's get these singlets. Let's get these jackets. Let's wear the towels. Okay. So
Yeah.
I followed his lead entirely on that, but I was lucky that it fit my style and mold anyway.
Nice.
And now at the time, I'm like 220 pounds at the time.
Yeah.
And, and Aaron's kind of lean and fit. We kind of looked similar enough. We were able to pull off switcheroo spots and things like that.
Nice.
But yeah, that was not supposed to be anything, and it turned into a pretty good run for us for a couple years, honestly.
Is there a moment or match that sticks out as the purist?
There's a couple one, you know, again, we weren't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So we're probably working at EWA close to a year when I finally we win the tag belts for the first time.
Nice.
That's my first title.
Nice.
And it wasn't a plan and it wasn't a gimme. I had to work hard for that. So I'm really, really proud of that. Still to this day, probably my favorite championship I've won.
Nice.
First one's always special, but this one I
Yeah.
earned. And alongside him, who's one of my mentors and one of my closest friends, and I loved Aaron to death. So that one's special. A lot of things were organic over there. We had a really nice run of matches with Zachary Pierre Beaulieu
Oh yeah.
back when he was Zach Static.
Wow.
And Doug Summers when he was still around.
Yeah.
Um, Organically, the crowd turned us face at one point. We had a nice run of matches with Dan the Man and some guys there. So um, that title match where we won is probably my favorite. That stands
Yeah.
out after a long program with a couple guys, and the string of matches were really good.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, just more so it was just us grinding through everywhere because we're not giant dudes, and you got a green kid and you got an old guy. We're working a little upstream there, so I'm really proud of the success we had.
Yeah, so nowadays I don't even think it really exists anymore. But in 2018, you got to induct him into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. So what happened? Did he give you a phone call, or how'd you find out about that one?
Yeah, so I hopefully Joe Bruin is in charge over there. Hopefully
Yeah,
he's still doing that. It looks like
he
he's
said
getting
maybe like 3 to 5 years he'll do it every. So
yeah, that makes more sense, right? You get the
yeah,
talent, and then not everybody should be, but Aaron absolutely should be.
yeah,
Aaron over a 20-year career, respect from guys all across New England. He's the first one to show up. He's the last one to leave. He's 20 years in. He's doing ring crew.
yeah,
Uh, People don't realize that over at Kevin Landry's school for a number of years, he was essentially the head trainer over there. So he's trained a good amount of people. Um, Brad Hollister gives Aaron credit for training him. Billy King gives credit for training him. He was influential on Tom, who becomes the trainer there.
yeah,
So his impact on the business in this area is like exponential.
yeah,
And just the best guy. So rightfully he gets inducted in the
yeah,
Hall of Fame there. I was extremely honored. Johnny Idol would have been a great choice too.
yeah.
They're best friends. They were like
Nice.
roommates for years and years. So like that would have been a great choice. Absolutely honored when I was asked to induct him.
Yeah.
I didn't. I wrote like four speeches for that. And I didn't like any of them, and and so I got up there early, and I had a couple drinks with Ron Zombie. Um, and then I go. I just hope I'm not the first speech. And they go, all right, up first, inducting Aaron Morrison. like very first
Who
speech.
else was in that class
My
that year?
nightmare, dude. I don't know. I did
Yeah.
my speech and blacked out like I was Will Ferrell in Old School. So,
Nice.
I just spoke from the heart about him, and it was so
Nice.
easy. I could talk about Aaron for this whole hour if we were going to do that, buddy.
Yeah.
Um, he a very important figure in my life. A lot of people don't make 16 years, right? I'm on year 16 right now. And you see a lot of people hit that hump at the like 2 year mark.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people hit that hump. And Aaron got me through that hump.
Yeah.
Uh, and also it gave me kind of instant respect when I'd go around. I was with Aaron because he was respected and vouched for me. That gave me opportunities. I was thrust into quality matches with quality guys where I'm learning and learning and learning. And then I'm watching one of the biggest things you like when you're new to the business and you're on your first couple shows, right? You get to the building, you have your gear, and then what? You
Yeah.
don't know what to do. You have no idea what to do. You don't know how to call a match. You don't know how to approach people or talk to people.
You're
You
nervous. Yeah.
don't know etiquette yet. And so I got to witness firsthand him guiding me along and pushing me by the back. You walk in, you shake everybody's hand, you find your opponent, you give him a little bit of space.
Yeah.
Time's right. You guys get together. Um, Ears open, mouth shut as a
Yeah.
green guy, right? Here's how a polite way to maybe not agree with an idea or have a twist off of that idea without coming off arrogant or like you're better than them. There's a
Yeah.
lot of little etiquette things that help you stick around because if you're a heater too, you're also not. And I've had my little moments, like we all do, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but if you're just a genuine heater, nobody's going to respect or trust you, and you're not going to be around very long.
Yeah.
So I love Aaron. Again, I could speak forever about him. Maybe
Yeah.
one day I'll do another thing and we'll just dedicate it to Aaron.
Nice. So your career keeps going and going. It sucks to see that you're wrapping it up. I'm hoping it's not true. However, before we get to the closers, I want to first talk about Wrestling Open. So I love hearing different people's stories and how they get there. So for you at first, how does Hammer Tunis get the opportunity for Wrestling Open?
Again, I'm lucky, right? So
Yeah.
Bacon's the man. Brad Hollister is my closest friend in this business. Like
Nice.
us being a tag team wasn't like a forced thing or a thrown together thing. That was us being the same kind of people
Nice.
with similar backgrounds and similar styles. It was just perfect. Um, but like next to my girlfriend, probably Bacon's probably the person I spend the most time with on the
Nice.
planet. Um, Love him. So, oh boy, he's the man, right?
Yeah.
So like, he's unquestionably one of the best wrestlers in New England.
Oh
I
yeah.
My list, maybe I'm biased,
Yeah.
but nobody's not going to have him in the top five, top three,
Yeah.
somewhere
He
in
he
that top,
rules.
right? And he's getting pushed over there. So I already have that advantage of getting an opportunity
Nice.
because rubbing elbows and networking is really important in this business. Um, Luckily enough, Paul Crockett, over there has been to a number of PvP shows, and we had a bit of a relationship as well.
Nice.
Um, I was given an opportunity to come in and do a couple spotlight matches pre-show.
Yeah, I remember those at the start for you.
Yeah, and I just got a couple, and I was cool. Come on in. Um, and that would have been fine. I had a few of those like spontaneous. Why don't you come on in and work with this young kid? We're trying to develop his character a little bit, and maybe
Yeah.
you can do something and give some advice. And that would have been a cool role. Um, but I knew my time was winding down a little bit. I wanted to be really active my last couple years.
Yeah.
Uh, so I sat out here one night. It was with my brother, and I was just talking about the lineup, and I'm like, damn, it's the problem is everybody there is so damn talented and so young
Yeah.
and so many reasons to push them and give them opportunities. Like, where do I fit in here? Like, what can I offer here? And I just kind of sat and thought and ran through the lineup and um, where could I fit in here? And I looked at a recent show. Brett Ryan Goslin had just left the ranch.
Yep.
And I knew that several people had come and gone in the ranch, and there just wasn't the right fit there. And I got to thinking, and I shot Steven Stetson a message, and I shot Paul a message, and I went out and I bought a cowboy hat, and I sent them a picture of me with the cowboy hat on and some sunglasses, kind of looking a little Rob Zombie like
Yeah.
almost,
Yeah.
a little rock and roll. But there was something there, right?
Yeah.
And for my character, which has always been a little bit of a snappy kind of twitchy sort of person. Um, to roll into that cowboy kind of role was fun and kind of an easy transition for me.
Yeah.
Without having to completely change the character of who I am, right?
Nice.
A twist off of it without being, well, that's far-fetched.
Yeah.
It was just a nice fit at the right time, and they needed somebody because two men is not a stable.
Yeah.
Um, and we have the right chemistry too. Me and Danny Miles have gotten along forever. Um,
I was gonna ask how long you guys known each other.
so ironically, Danny grew up 20 minutes from me. I never knew.
Nice.
But I've known Danny a majority of my career, and he's been
Yeah.
around longer. He's at like 18, 19 years now. It's
Yeah.
wild. Danny's unbelievable. But we've always had a mutual respect, never got a chance to wrestle with each other.
Wow.
But we were both very excited to come together and kind of team up. And he's a little bit more old school too. He's a hell of a worker.
Yeah,
Danny's
he
a
rules.
hell of a wrestler and a great mind. Um, and both being around for a little bit, we're able to help mold and guide and keep things together versus people getting a little too outlandish with their matches.
Yeah.
Stetson is a wild man.
Yeah.
I love Steven Stetson. Um, People think he's nuts. He might rub a couple people the wrong way. Stetson is hungry. That kid's what, 24, 25 years old,
Yeah.
right? He's got great size. He's a hell of a wrestler, like very, very skilled. Smooth matches. He's got personality. He's got an attitude. Um, and that rubs people the wrong way, but the kid is just hungry.
Yeah. He
He's a
just come
great,
back from the dojo.
he's over there training New Japan's
Yeah.
dojo over there. Things are going really, really well for him.
Yeah.
I'm very excited that he's out there and learning and trying to grow and better himself. Yeah, so Stetson's out there training, he betters himself. And there's a lot of people with a lot of talent, especially in this area.
Yeah.
But are they going to try to race others and get ahead and do whatever they need to do? And Stetson's one of those guys.
Yeah.
He drives 4 or 5 hours every single Thursday to come to Wrestling Open, right?
Yeah.
To have the crowd not sponsor him and boo him and flip him off and tell him they hate him and complain about him. And then they show up the next week to
Absolutely.
hit his name and call him an a-hole,
Yeah.
and flip him off and complain about him. And he just loves the business and wants to wrestle and wants to get better. It's not about money or anything for him right now. It's just
Yeah.
about, let's see where I can take this. So for me to be a part of that, and Danny as well, for us to use our experience and our knowledge to offer whatever advice we can to him,
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that. So, I'm rooting for nothing but the biggest success for Steven Stetson. That'll make me feel accomplished right now after these last couple of years.
When you talk about the Stetson Ranch, for you personally, what does steel cage warfare mean for you? Because, like you said, storyline's been brewing for quite basically a year, and all culminated to that building. Packed house, sold out, I believe, too, at the Palladium.
Dude, unbelievable. I grew up so I'm from Ludlow. I'm
Yeah.
45 minutes from Worcester.
Yeah.
Palladium is a concert venue. I've seen David Lee Roth there. I've seen Dio there. I've seen Judas Priest there.
Wow.
Like I've seen a bunch of like awesome concerts at the Palladium. So for me to actually like be in there and headline in a cage match
Yeah.
with the production that Wrestling Open and Beyond Wrestling does, which is second to none.
Yeah.
And the talent I'm in the ring with, dude. I'm 37 years old for this match, right? That was a few months ago. Just unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Like teenage me was giving me a high five that night. But I'm in there and it's Ichiban and Danny Miles unbelievable, but it's Ichiban and Sammy Diaz and Tyree, who's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Brother Greatness is one of the best personalities in
He
wrestling.
rules.
Sweetheart of a human being. But like the talent I'm in this ring with, I'm looking around. I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm very, very lucky. So I've been
Yeah.
taking these last couple years in all the matches. I've been trying to take them in as best I can, and that was a special night for me.
Yeah.
Given that it was kind of a teenage bucket list high five sort of thing, and
Yeah.
just to be regarded with that company and that promotion in that position with those guys was an absolute honor.
When we talk about matches that mean something to you, what about the match? I believe it was for PBP, the War Games match with Big Business. Your team with Jay, Cruz, Scotty. So that must have meant a lot too.
Yeah, that's that was so Big Business. We brought them over from Wrestling Open.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
They're not seen as an entire unit a whole lot elsewhere. So
Yeah.
we're really lucky to have gotten that group. Um, what a talented group, right? Big city, unbelievable. I've already talked about
Yeah.
Bacon. TJ Crawford is insane
He
talent.
rules.
I cannot wait until people forget he's only a few years in. I cannot wait until he's actually like got some years under him and puts it all together. Because some of the things he does are like second to none. I'm really excited to watch TJ's
He
growth.
rules.
And I think Brick City are the most versatile tag team in the Northeast right now.
Nice.
A lot of really good tag teams. They're a tag team that can brawl, they can put on something silly, they can work as heels or faces. They're like unbelievable and great, great dudes. Um, and then I'm in there with four people that are really representative of the Western Mass Wrestling area.
Yeah.
So me and my brother, which obviously the story we're telling there is, even though he's my brother, it really is a different generation. We have a 14-year age gap
Wow.
with none in between, same
Yeah.
parents, and so that's a unique situation. So it's kind of a generational thing there. Um, AJ Cruz and Scotty Wild, again, they're both guys who had they chosen to get out and not been content, they'd be names everybody would be talking about. But
Nice.
that's not for them. They
Yeah.
chose to be awesome in our area, and they're our secret hidden gems. So I consider myself fortunate. Um, so it was the right guys. Huge main event. Cage match is always fun and exciting. And we got the drama going that match, man.
Yeah.
So I was very happy with that match. I was very happy with the event overall. That
Yeah.
was the biggest PvP event to date back in November.
Nice.
Um, I was very happy with the fan reception. So, yeah, that'll be one I won't forget for a long, long time. I'm
So
hoping to break that record, that attendance record this April.
nice. So you talk about Big Bacon. When I was first introduced to you, it was the closers. I had the pictures and everything. Now, for you, I'm curious, what was that first interaction with Big Bacon Brad Hollister?
So I was coaching wrestling when I was in college, right?
Yeah.
Bacon was in high school,
Okay.
at Chicopee High School, which again is a couple exits from Ludlow. So we're in the team I'm coaching is the same division as him.
Yeah.
My former coach now works at his school, so he knows my former coach.
Nice.
A little bit of I met him when he was a junior in high school,
Wow.
wrestling for Chicopee,
Yeah.
and kicking kids' asses and just pinning everybody.
Yeah.
Um, watch him become a Western Mass champion, watch him become a state champion.
What class was he?
Oh, damn, 2010, 2009
No,
or
I'm
10.
saying like weight class, like for
Oh,
wrestling.
he was a 215.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He was a 215. Um, but I met him when I was coaching and he was a junior in high school. And because my coach was with him now, um, there was like an immediate mutual respect, like, hey, this is,
Yeah.
this is Tunis, hey, this is, and we got along right away. And so that first day I walked into pro wrestling training, I walk in, I look up and I see that big dumb head of his smiling over at me. He's like, hey, he was actually there training at Tom's school the very first day I walked in. Now he's in high school still training,
Yeah.
competing in sports. And his coaches made him step away from pro wrestling while he was in high school.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing where he's training as high school. I come in within a couple weeks, he has to step away. So
Yeah.
that we never really got to train with each other, but we knew each other. We had that interaction there. It wasn't really until he started coming back again. Um, and me and him just like hit it off instantly at a show one day. And then, hey, why don't we hang out one time? And we're hanging out, and me and him just get talking to wrestling and about the direction of some promotions that we're working for and just things that we thought or whatever that we could implement. And we just started bouncing ideas off of each other one day, and it just turned into this nonstop one-on-one fantasy booking session between him and I.
Wow.
Lasted now over 10 years. Um, we just could not stop talking and watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I've been sitting here for 6 hours and we've done nothing but talk and watch wrestling. But I got to go home. But what are you doing tomorrow? And it turned into one of those friendships where I was seeing him every single day and we were just hanging out and talking wrestling. Um, he was rehabbing a shoulder injury. And I was a champion over at a promotion that I prefer to not mention. Um, but I was able to convince them to bring him in on like a Piper's Pit type of segment. We created Hollister's Outlet.
Wow.
And so I was able to yeah, pull some strings and get the promoter to agree to give him a dedicated segment talk show. Hey, if he's good on the mic, we'll see what he's got. We'll give him another chance.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen Bacon, he's fire on the mic.
Yeah.
So, right, he comes out and steals this thing right from day one. And along the process of this segment, me and him manipulate and we build to a program.
Yeah.
We build to a feud. So we kind of like dictate our own booking there and got our foot in the door. And we had this really, really nice program that we were putting out quality of matches way beyond what we should have at that time.
Yeah.
It was because we hung out every day and we watched things and um I don't want to toot my own horn too often, but like people know what I mean by this. Some people in the business get it, and some don't quite fully get it. I think I'm fortunate enough where I think I mostly get it, and I think Bacon mostly gets it. And then when we're together, we really, really get it because there's a lot
Nice.
of filter and there's a lot of yeah, but, and um, it filters out a lot of bad
Hmm.
and often creates a lot of good when you have those brainstorming sessions every single day. Um, And so now we run this program, and well, there's nothing left for us to do here. We should team up.
Nice.
And so that's how the brainchild went, man. It was very organic. It's because we became quick best friends
Yeah.
because we had a good program and we kind of wanted to continue working with each other. So
So what was like the inspiration for the closers? Like I mentioned, like I'm a mark for like, especially when I was going to all these shows, drawing the pictures, like even little things like when you guys used to come out with the spray bottle and things like that. Like what was the inspiration? And then to go with that prior to that, what was like the inspiration for Hammer Tunis?
yeah, so you were going to, I mean, you've been going to those shows out there in Brockton and Fall River and stuff
Yeah.
since you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
So we were actually brought in originally. Now, me and him had already planned to team up with each other.
Yeah.
They jumped the gun first. They brought me and Bacon in with TK
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
to be Team Waters.
Wow.
We were brought in as a trio to back up Ryan Waters when Ryan Waters was at the time Top Rope Promotions champ.
Okay. Yep.
That's how this started. Um, and then TK is a baseball player, semi-pro, and like a really, really good college athlete. And like, obviously he gets signed to Ring of Honor pretty early on.
Yeah.
Um, Me and Bacon were always planning on being kind of an amateur wrestling sort of thing, Steiner's-esque.
Nice.
Him coming into the mix, now we're more of all right, we're legitimate athletes,
Yeah.
but we're cocky, arrogant, legitimate athletes with some flair, and we strut
Yeah.
and show our stuff off. Um, so it kind of just grew to be over the top. Hey, we'll be the guys who are overly flamboyant and overly celebrate and crazy end zone dances for no reason. The spray bottle comes in, the sexy Jesus thing,
Yeah.
which is an accident. I think it's TK. I got to give it credit to TK. It might be Bacon. One of them is cutting a promo and they just turn to me and they go, and this sexy Jesus guy over here. They just dropped it one time in a promo randomly.
Wow.
And then I think he also called, and this big slab of bacon over here. And the nickname's just stuck. Like fans started chanting it at us
Yeah.
right there. And all of a sudden we're like, you're big bacon and I'm sexy Jesus now.
Yeah.
We're the closers.
Wow.
Now here I'm coming out with a holy water spray bottle. That's the inspiration.
Okay.
Um, and we're twirling hairs like I have a halo and like all this stuff, and he's just flexing all the time, and it added to the over the top obnoxiousness thing. I think a lot of our antics were like a big reason of why we got over a lot of places.
Yeah.
Into fun entrances and like whether they're cheering us or booing us, it was entertaining.
I don't know if you probably remember this, but one of the first times I seen you singles was you versus Anthony Stone for Outside the Box's first ever show. What was it? Sexy Jesus versus Hardcore Jesus at the time.
Yeah, that was a little mill building in Rhode Island,
Yeah, the
right?
chop shop.
Yeah, so it was random and no knocks. I didn't even have to. I had never been out to the chop shop, right? And we
Yeah.
like, doing pretty well. Me and Bacon were teaming a lot of places, and we're working a lot, pretty busy schedule. And I got a random hit up one day, like I had a free date,
Yeah.
and like credit to them, they were offering right away. They're like, "Oh, we'll pay you very, very reasonably." I was like, "Oh, that's nice."
Nice.
Okay. I made a day of it. It was a small show. There weren't a ton of fans, but the fans were into it. And
Yeah, I got a picture with you at that show.
What, were you there?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was in good shape that show.
Yeah, it was a good. That was the first match ever for the company.
I was
They
in
did
good
like
shape
five
that show. I
shows,
was all
but
sweaty and oily, but I got blown up. Yeah, Anthony Stone, I've known a long, long time, and he had started kind of blowing up around that time
yeah,
too. All of a sudden, yeah, he was doing the hardcore Jesus thing.
yeah,
He's just like he's a sweet dude and really easy to work with. It was a low pressure situation, but I enjoyed my experience there, and I made a day. I always like to make a day of it when I'm in Rhode Island. I love
nice.
the beach and stuff, so if I can find an excuse to like, hey, I got a show, I can make a day of it, I'll do that.
Yeah. So one thing I remember about the closers, I forgot how old I was at the time when I seen this, but how does the opportunity for you guys to wrestle the Dogs for Ring of Honor, I think it was like Future of Honor, come to be?
Yeah, man. So if you can get a little bit of buzz, that's good. If you can have somebody vouch for you, that's good. If you can
Yeah,
show up early and help out and make a good impression, that's good. We were able to do all three of those things.
nice.
Um, we had been invited down there. We dressed our best. We showed up first. We helped set everything up. We had a good relationship with Matt Taven is really crutch here. We had
Nice.
a good relationship with Matt Taven. Um, so when we shook hands with all the right people and were noticed and looked good and we are in good shape um and then you get Matt Taven, who's a soon to be, he eventually becomes their world champion, right? So
Yeah,
you know the kind of standing he's in. And he's vouching for us. Me and him were like the first pick when it came to that extra match or whatever to do for that Ring of Honor show.
nice.
Uh, I never ever when I started wrestling, I looked at my height, and at the time I was fat too. So I looked at myself. I never, ever, ever had the ambition or the thought even of like, I'm going to try to make it to a big company here.
Yeah,
My goal was I'll go in, I'll give it my best, and I hope to be like one of those indie local guys who's like, yeah, but he's good. If he was bigger, he could have been the WWE. If fans walked away saying that, I would have been happy. That was my goal originally.
yeah,
Um, dude, how the business has changed, huh?
yeah,
So, um, all of a sudden, smaller is okay. All of a sudden, pushes for tag teams come and go. So, smaller is okay. Pushes for tag teams going on, and like me and Bacon had something pretty cool and unique, and
yeah,
we had a lot of personality.
yeah. Oh
Like I
yeah,
believe in myself, in my ability to entertain, especially if you put me out there, and um. I know I'm not going to hurt anybody. I know I'm going to give you a psychology wise and a technical wise a solid match, right?
yeah,
Not the physical freak Bacon is or the physical freak Ichiban is, right? I'm
yeah,
not. So I have to focus on other things.
yeah,
Um, if 2009 me knew that I was going to get an opportunity at Ring of Honor at one point, those first 10 years probably would have been a little bit more extreme pushing things.
yeah,
Uh, but no regrets. And because I wasn't expecting that opportunity and I got it, um, it's one of the things I'll brag about forever
yeah,
because I earned it and I shouldn't have and I didn't expect it and we did well.
yeah.
Um, unfortunately, I broke my ribs like a week earlier.
Wow.
Like a week earlier. I was in a lot of pain and couldn't breathe. Um, and I was in this weird position where I tried to like let them know like, hey, I'm hurt without telling these guys who are Ring of Honor contracted talents that I'm hurt because they're
Yeah,
not going to work with me.
yeah,
I call the whole match and I wait till we're about to go out and I go, oh, by the way, don't kick me too hard in the sternum. I'm recovering from a rib injury. I'm good, but I'm recovering. It's full broken.
yeah,
Um, and so part of me, I watch back and I'm like, I could have done a little bit better. And then part of me is like, I don't know how I did what I did with my rib injury, considering. So I'm really, really proud of myself for that.
yeah,
And small potatoes, man, but it's a big thing to me, and I love
yeah,
that. And I love it with Bacon. Like I was so proud. I still can't fathom how he's not there or wasn't there quickly, but that's a whole nother conversation.
yeah.
Uh, that was one of those. I walked around the building and I took a little moment and I took it in, man.
Nice.
Um, I'll never forget that. Thank you for bringing it up.
Of course. Is there any other moments of the closures that stand out for you or matches that you had?
There's so many.
Yeah, I
It's the
love
most
the
fun period of
closers.
my career. Teaming with him. Because we were over the top, sometimes we pushed the envelope a little bit.
Yeah,
to see what we could get away with. I don't think we ever like fully crossed the boundaries, but it was fun being able to go out and do whatever you want to do some
Yeah.
nights. Um, the Brockton crowds overall, they were so rowdy and in the best of ways, raunchy.
Yeah.
Uh, that was always just fun. We had a show where we babyface turned, and somehow Time of Our Life came on. And we're strutting around the ring, and he points at me, and I point at him, and he gives me the big old time boost up. That's
Yeah.
a good time. A lot of cool venues over there, a lot of cool moments. Smith and Little Man match was awesome. We got
Oh
do you remember Smith and Little Man?
yeah. I don't remember. I
No, that's
remember
one of my
Little
favorite
Man.
matches of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah.
Oh, and then working with the Kingdom was really, really awesome. We had a really, really good match with them over there, and but the crowd interaction is really what I remember the most about being over there.
Yeah. Packed PAL hauled for you guys sometimes too.
Sometimes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, yeah, over at PvP, it was a little bit different of an incarnation at times because Bacon was the PvP champion, and so a lot of it was me and TK teaming up.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was a fun run.
Yeah.
And then Bacon and TK are teaming up some places. So we got the whole trifecta. It was a true like 3-person group, which was really, really cool and unique.
Yeah.
Um, we call it the closer rule, but it's just the Freebird rule.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people were doing that. It was tag team, tag team, tag team. And then we had the three of us. So now we were able to take that acts
Act.
like
Yeah.
places and different carnations and make it work. And we got some 6-man bookings out of it too, but that was fun.
Yeah. So when we talk about Pro Wrestling Super Show, a few weeks ago, you had your final ever match, a part of the closures against Waves and Curls. Now, Waves and Curls, you've had a pretty good history with them. I remember seeing a lot of matches growing up with them. But having that match with them, did you select Waves and having TKO there? That must have felt cool.
It was not my call, but
Okay.
everything was perfect. So
Yeah.
I did ask, I asked Ryan Waters, who runs the shows over there. He's the one who first brought us in. That's when I talk Brockton. This is the same building. It's the
Yeah.
most fun I've ever had because the crowd is just so awesome. Um, we were tag champs there for like 2 straight years or something, dude. It was special. Got to main event a bunch of those shows. So I thought it was only fitting that if me and Bacon could have our last match together there, that it would be special.
Yeah.
Um, Ryan was really gracious to give me that.
Nice.
He's the one who said waves and curls. I couldn't have asked for a more perfect person. That's who I would have asked for
Nice.
because they've become the tag team there.
Yeah.
Um, TK was a surprise for me. I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah, he comes walking in the back door and just sits down next to me, and I almost shit my pants because I haven't seen him in a little bit. Nick Steele's funeral, I think, is the last time I saw TK O'Ryan.
Wow.
And that's a few years back now. We doesn't mean we don't keep in touch once in a while, but I haven't seen him in a while. And that was a surprise for me. Bacon knew, Ryan Waters set that up. I didn't know that Dexter Liu, who is also one of my closest friends in the business, him and Sumo Mike Gamble.
I'm so happy he's still in wrestling somehow, both of them.
Him and Sumo Mike Gamble, who just lost 100
Yeah.
pounds, got a cute little girlfriend and started wrestling again. He's living his best life in
And
Florida.
Dexter's announcing now?
Dex, Daddy Dex over there with a
Yeah.
beautiful child, and they're two of my favorites ever. I didn't know he was going to be there to ring announce. Billy Finnegan, who was the ring announcer there for a long, long time, and
Yeah.
he's just got to do some stuff because he's badass and he's beat it and
Yeah.
love you, nothing but respect for you. He was over there in attendance. It was like this whole big reunion night, and everybody surprised me with it. Um, that is absolutely one of my favorite shows and favorite nights in wrestling in 16 years.
Nice.
Everything there was special. The match was really, really good, but it was alongside the right guy, against the right people, right ring announcer. Our boy shows back up to surprise, and what a pop. It was really, really exciting ending.
Yeah.
Really, really special night. I could not have asked for a better night.
Yeah. So when we talk Super Show real quick, I want to ask you, because I know you were in last year's, and I don't know if you used to do it from the top rope. Can you walk me through like your thought process for WrestleRoulette?
I'm going to sound like the guy who begs for bookings now. That was another one I asked Ryan Waters. If I could.
Nice. I love the concept.
Every year that they did that, it was like me and Bacon were like tag champs or in a tag match that was announced.
Okay.
I never got to do the roulette. We were there 3, 4, 5 straight years. Never got to do the roulette. So I knew this was my last opportunity. I messaged him and I was honest, man. I think I'm made for this. I would love the challenge.
Nice.
Please, will you please book me? And he did. And so the process, um, you get there and the group of you guys stand around, you look at each other and
Yeah.
you go, oh, I don't know what to do. And there's too many of you to call anything.
Yeah.
Um, you try to maybe get a quick gist of like, do you guys have finishers or something like that? Do you have a move that I should worry about at the end,
Yeah.
right? But I'm not going to remember anyway. It's a true no preparation luck of the draw.
Nice.
I was right in the middle of the pack. Um, I looked around and let's say there was me and like four or five others, and I looked and I knew everybody except one kid I was kind of just meeting for the first time. And probably the most green of the bunch. And I'm a heel and he also works heel. So in my head, I get drawn first, of course.
Yeah.
I go out there and I'm standing in the ring having no idea who I'm wrestling.
Yeah.
Could be Ichiban, it could be Dustin Waller, it could be Kai Blanc. There's all these, or it's this, or and so um of course he gets drawn, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm a heel. I think I was smart, I was smart enough to make my entrance kind of neutral.
Yeah.
I was a little over the top, but I didn't talk trash and I didn't like I went out kind of neutral. And then he comes out and just gets booed right away. Boo. I go, I guess I'm a face. Like, so I was not expecting that. And then
Right.
I went in with the mindset of I'm not going to be back. They're probably going to have whoever I'm wrestling over. I'm going to lose. They're going to win. And the ref comes up and he goes, "You're winning." I go, "I'm a baby face and I'm winning. What a
Wow.
treat." Right? But yeah, this kid he did a great job of listening. We put on a nice like 8 minute, 10 minute
Devin
match.
Justice, was it?
Yes, it was
Nice.
absolutely very, very, very great job. Devin Justice did a fantastic job, and
Yeah.
he's normally in the tag team, I think.
Yeah, the collective.
Right. So now he's in a new role. He's with somebody he's never really met. Um, I'm switching roles while I'm out there, and he's got to kind of trust me as a baby face to lead. That's a whole nother thing, but that's challenging.
Yeah.
Usually the heel, ideally, you could have lead the match. Um, so he's walking into the unknown too. I would say the match was very, very solid.
Yeah.
Everything was like everything's on the fly. We have zero preparation. We've never locked up before.
Yeah.
So it's in and we go and we're listening to each other and playing off each other. And um, that's where communication and trust are really, really important.
Yeah.
Um, if I don't trust him and listen to him and I'm rolling over and he's jumping and flipping on top of me, somebody's gonna get hurt, right?
Yeah.
So credit to both of us for having the patience and that's another one. I'm like really, really proud of that. It
Yeah.
was everything that I hoped or wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And everybody on that card who does that is like they're making themselves better. They're giving the fans an authentic. They're giving the fans something authentic that they can react to emotionally. It's not just a scripted, planned, rehearsed. We
It's
thought
a
of it.
challenge.
You have to listen and feel.
Yeah.
You're forced to listen and feel and play off of it and the energy of the crowd and what they're into.
Yeah.
It just makes everybody better. It's a really special, unique event that most promotions, and myself included, would not have the guts to run.
No, wow. So you talk about it. You talk about your passion for pro wrestling. I love hearing it. So I'm curious. When you first started PvP, what would you say is like your vision with it? What were your goals?
This is another accident, dude.
Wow.
PvP started. I think there's so much to learn in the business, and there's so many people, and there's so many promotions.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for somebody just to walk in and run a promotion,
You're right.
and especially booking and stuff. And so I was very self-aware that I was taking over things way earlier than the normal person would, and how it would be viewed. And that I had an uphill battle there. I knew I was going to have a lot to learn, but I also trusted in myself that I was smarter than people knew. I thought I was smarter than my years, and I think I was right.
Yeah.
This happened because there was another promotion locally, and without diving into who's or what's, essentially they didn't really know what they were doing, and most of the responsibilities were getting fallen onto me anyway.
Okay.
And I was getting some guys in my ear, Zach Beaulieu and Johnny Idol and Aaron Morrison and Bacon and pretty much every local Billy King and every local talent essentially saying, hey, dude, you got to just like branch off and run your own thing before this guy runs the thing into the ground.
Okay.
So, um, I went in and talked to the guy about possibly buying it off of him. He didn't want to sell it or anything. Ipso facto, we ended up branching off and PvP was born.
Nice.
Uh, I sat in Tom Burke, who is wrestling legend historian,
Yeah.
so in his 70s, and so it's but he's one of the boys. Tom Burke's the man. His picture, I guess, hangs up in the elevator, the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Like
Wow.
Tom Burke's the man.
Yeah.
Um, we sat in the kitchen with like again, same crew. Marshall McNeil was there and bounced ideas off of names.
I love the names you're dropping.
Yeah, the my vision for this was I know I'm too green to be doing this.
Okay.
If I'm gonna do it, I need everybody's help.
Yeah.
And I need you guys guiding me. I need the mentorship. And I was so lucky that I have Doc Harris. He isn't running EWA anymore. He's there to offer advice. Marshall McNeil and Johnny Idol and Aaron Morrison and Billy King. And again, anybody who's been around, they can vouch of how respected and smart these guys are.
Yeah.
Um, and they're all backing me up. And they're guiding me and they're supporting me. And without them and that team, that panel, this definitely does not happen. I never would have just been like, you know what, I'm going to start my own wrestling promotion. Never. It kind of came down to like, hey, you're doing everything anyway. Don't let this guy ruin it. Okay, I'll try it if you'll help me. And here we are.
Yeah.
And those guys are all still around and still in my life, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Are there's like a match or moment so far that you think defines PvP?
To me, the greatest match of PvP history will never be able to be topped.
Okay.
It is got to be the Matthew James versus Alex Cypher
Wow.
cage match. I don't care what anybody says. We ran a 5-year storyline that was hot at our event every single month. Um, Alex was a guy coming in, and Alex just wanted to get involved. And he showed
Yeah.
up in a suit one day, walked around, and he took notes at a show. And fans kind of noticed him. They're like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
Um, And then the next show, he went around, he started measuring chairs, like in between chairs to make sure the chairs were spaced out enough.
Yeah.
Made a fake athletic commission badge, Massachusetts Pro Wrestling Athletic Commission.
Uh,
He did this whole thing. And his whole point was to give our general manager, Matthew James, grief. That's
yeah.
how this all starts. We actually got a cease and desist from the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission.
Wow.
A letter sent to our venue. It almost ruined us. It almost had to make us cancel our anniversary show.
Wow.
That we are imitating their likeness or whatever. We're calling it the Massachusetts Pro Wrestling State Athletic Commission, which doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But we got a cease and desist. So we knew something was working though.
Oh yeah.
And these two butted heads for 2.5, 3 years. And the show that we were about, we announced it. We had a big buildup. We built a whole separate promotion, Chris. We had Western Mass Wrestling branch off of PvP, new
Wow.
Facebook, new PayPal accounts, new venue, new roster,
Yeah.
totally separate. And then we were doing invasions. It really, really worked for a couple years.
Wow.
Um, and the show that we're gonna blow it off with the cage match, COVID hits. So shit, right?
Yeah.
Um, Year and a half later, we're getting ready to run back. COVID takes us out for a year. I didn't want to dive right in when COVID first,
Yeah, it's
like,
hard to, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like we could start running again and then we closed down. I gave it a few months. But our very first show back, the very, very, very first segment, Matthew James goes out to welcome everybody. And before he gets a word in, Alex Cypher's music hits. I don't know if the crowd's going to remember or not, but
Yeah.
we're going to find out if they're going to remember and care right
Sink or
now.
swim moment right here.
We're going to find out right now.
Yeah.
And Alex comes out and he gets in Matt James' face and snatches the microphone and goes, "I still hate you." And the crowd, oh,
Yeah.
and snatches it back and goes, "And I still hate you." And they erupt into a brawl
Yeah.
and I go ape shit.
Nice.
It's hot. We
Yeah.
got back on board. Then we dragged it out another year.
Wow.
So it builds up to this cage match, and Alex was a hell of a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Ever heard about Bobby the Brain Heenan? About before he's had his neck injuries and stuff, that Bobby was one of the world's best workers.
Oh yeah.
Alex was, in my opinion, one of the top 5 guys in New England as a singles guy before he started getting hurt.
Wow.
Uh, Matthew James has never wrestled a match in his life. He doesn't have a bone in his body.
Yeah.
This is not him. He has a brilliant mind for the business. He's one of these guys who came in from the outside and found roles because he's so smart and gets it.
Nice.
Gets it more than a lot of wrestlers, and that's sad.
Yeah.
Uh, but Alex was able to lead Matt through this brilliant brawl fest, and they started out of the ring, and we had a like this big glass second floor window, and they're fighting through the second door window back and forth, and it's funny. And now when they're going back and forth in the window, the
Yeah.
fans are out of their seat, running back and forth across the venue.
Wow.
Watch, they're having so much
They're
fun.
invested. I love it.
They're invested. And then this balls of steel son of a gun, Matthew James, um, our show is Go Big or Go Home. He went big. And he took a 30 plus foot balcony dive
Wow.
at this event onto a group of heels,
Yeah.
luckily, way higher than anybody would have had to have been double cages.
Yeah.
Minimally the height of Mick Foley flying off the Hell in a Cell, right?
Wow.
Like, way up there. And it's just a moment that cannot be topped. It's the culmination of years of things. And these two non-wrestlers went out and delivered what I think is the best wrestling match that PvP's ever had.
Nice.
And if you watched it, I think they would have trouble disputing. Unbelievable match, entertaining,
Yeah.
slugfest, and more so. If you've been on those journeys with us, you've been a fan for a regular, and you're watching the build to this, emotionally, you can't get bigger than it was for us on our.
Nice.
So
So when we talk PvP, one of the things I'm curious about recently, whose idea was it for the Fuji Cup?
that is an inside thing coming to life, buddy.
Oh, okay.
So, quick backstory. I'm trained by Thomas Santell and Kevin Landry. Kevin is trained by Paul Roma.
Yep.
Paul Roma was a prodigy, or Mr. Fuji, you could say, was Paul Roma's mentor.
Okay.
When Paul Roma was getting hot, when he was really, really green, but didn't really know how to wrestle.
Yeah.
So he's coming in, getting opportunities before he deserves them. So, I don't believe Paul Roma was probably treated super great at the very start of his career.
Okay.
Mr. Fuji was a guy who took him under his wing and took care of him and taught him a lot about the business. And even though he got his training elsewhere, he always credits Mr. Fuji as where he's learned the most and as his mentor. So, we've always thought it was the coolest thing to look down, like, who trained your trainer? Like, what lineage do we
Yeah.
come from? The big, and ours is Mr. Fuji. And we
Wow.
always thought that was cool. And so Brad Hollister, he's one of them. And now you have all of Paul Roma's direct kids, Dustin Waller and Kylon King,
Yeah.
Richard Holiday, The Haven, Jermaine Marbury.
Yeah.
There's a whole slew of us, and we kind of take pride that we all come from that same lineage.
Nice.
Now you have these other assholes out in the Boston area that walk around talking about Killer Kowalski and the New England Pro Wrestling Academy over there. Nah, they're fantastic,
Yeah.
but they're from Killer Kowalski lineage.
Yeah.
Walk around, they're all proud of the Kowalski lineage.
Yeah.
And Fancy Ryan Clancy, if you break it down, he comes from the Hearts.
Yeah.
You have Spike Dudley, all these different guys, Johnny Rods, all these legendary trainers or workers, and
Yeah.
and so it's become a little bit of thing at Wrestling Open, where it started as a joke, but now we kind of band together. It's turned into fake gang wars.
Yeah.
Right. This kind of started as a like ha 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 joke, and then turned into something we took kind of serious. Hey, we've seen Top Rope has the Kowalski Cup, right?
Yeah.
So like we really get serious about this. We're genuinely proud of this. Why don't we bring it into life? And so what started as our little inner circle friend sort of thing, we turned into a real thing.
Nice.
Tournament was beautiful. I was
Yeah.
very, very happy with how the tournament went. And Dustin Waller and Pedro in the finals, almost a half hour, no interferences, no ref bumps. It was the finals of a wrestling tournament
Nice.
for 3 minutes. And it's one of the best matches PvP has ever had. Easily top 5 in 10 years.
So we've talked about some of the best match PvP's ever had. Before we get to the final topic, talking about your last match, I'm curious, when you look back at everything you did, I think you said 16 years, was it?
I'm 16. June will be 16, so I'm just shy. I'll call it 16.
So when you look back at those 16 years, what are those matches that define your career, you'd say?
Oh, so my matches with Bacon, Brad Hollister one-on-one. Our run of matches, our blow off was a 30-minute Iron Man match.
Wow.
We went into overtime. It's the longest match I've ever done. It was fantastic. And again, we're only a few years in. We're putting on quality of work that most people never reach. I'm really, really proud of those. Um, I genuinely probably would regard myself as a tag team specialist over my career. That was probably the shining point of
Yeah.
my career. I had nice little singles runs. Um, but I went from working my way up with Aaron for a number of years where, I mean, we won fan votes on polls about being New England Tag Team of the Year and things like that.
Nice.
Um, right into now I'm teaming with Bacon, and I think we took the Purists to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Aaron's very proud of that too. He's always called that. So just those runs, I would say, um, waves and curls. You brought up waves and curls earlier,
Yeah.
and coming out of COVID, a lot of talent exploded.
Yeah.
It was a lot of there was a big changeover, right? A lot of the old guard were gone, but then there was this new crop of kids that just continued wrestling through COVID in front of nobody.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we come back and there's the Miracle Generation, there's Waves and Curls, there's the Haven,
Yeah.
there's Brick City, there's like all these fantastic teams that weren't there when we were there.
Yeah.
And Waves and Curls were the ones that reminded us, at least personality wise and boisterous wise, the most of us. So
Yeah.
we saw that as like a really, really natural like butting of heads. Um, that's an easy booking for people to make, and I'm glad we got those runs of matches.
Yeah.
And then AJ Cruz.
Yeah.
AJ Cruz is probably my greatest opponent. Again, we were the same grade, we were the same weight class in eighth grade at middle school wrestling, and had to face each other in tournaments. He
Who
was
won
a
those? Nice.
um, yeah. To be fair, I had a couple years of youth, and he was brand new. I had a
Yeah.
little three-quarter Nelson on him. Sorry, buddy. Love you, AJ. 2-0. But he became one of my drilling partners. AJ's a two-time state placer. He's a
Wow.
Western champion. AJ's a no joke wrestler, man.
Yeah.
Um, but we've always played off of that. And it was an easy story to tell because there was realness to what me and him did. He
Yeah.
would have to be my greatest opponent. I was happy with every match we had. We got genuine emotional reactions. Again, I can't do all the flips, man. When I started wrestling, I was like 225 pounds. I was strong.
Yeah.
And then I lost a lot of weight, not as strong. And
Yeah.
I've never been a high flyer guy. So now I'm like, I'm not very big and I'm not very strong and I'm not very fast.
Yeah.
So how do I maintain relevancy or be decent or it's the emotional reactions and I have to get those or my matches will be fine.
Yeah.
But if I get emotional reaction, they'll be special and people
Nice.
maybe they won't remember the flip I didn't do, but they'll walk away talking about how they felt and what they're looking forward to next time.
Yeah. So we talk about it. So you talk, there's a age gap between you and your brother Jay. When did you realize that's something he wanted to get involved in and he was interested in?
So he's been helping me. I've been doing this for 10 years. He just has his 24th birthday, right?
Wow.
So now that's PvP.
Yeah.
Coming to shows since 16 years,
Yeah.
since 8, 9 years old. So he's just been around the business. And since I was running the promotion for so long, he's been helping me out. He's been doing ring crew for a decade. He's been helping me flyer for a decade. Um, I think he was just interested in helping out.
Yeah.
And then I had a void for a ref, and I needed somebody I could trust that knew the rules. And, you know, stinks to not have somebody and throw somebody out in a live show, but desperate times.
Yeah.
Um, and he did so well. Like you wouldn't have known that he was brand new. It became, well, hey, let's keep using him.
Yeah.
And he became a pretty solid referee for a couple years for us. The brainchild actually comes. It's a very specific show. It's my birthday.
Okay.
I ran a show on my birthday because I'm a mark. Um, and Dexter Lou and Sumo came in. Sumo flew in for me for that show to have a match with us.
Those two rule.
They're the best.
Yeah.
That's another whole hour conversation.
They
we'll
both
talk.
hit me up. I'm doing a pod with them. I'm trying to reunite them for one.
Oh my, can I? Yeah,
I'll text you. You can make a special guest appearance.
I want to interrupt that.
Absolutely.
So, what was your question?
You were running a show on your birthday. How did Jay get involved?
So we're gonna do an interference thing. Now I intentionally never had him ref any of my matches.
Okay.
I didn't want anybody thinking anything or connecting
Now, is
anything.
he go by like Jay Tunis when he's refing or?
Yeah, everybody knew, everybody saw him
Okay.
grow up around the business. Our fans knew exactly who he was. We
Okay.
couldn't hide that. So, but for people to not get any ideas, I intentionally didn't have him ref any of my matches for like 2 years. I don't want anybody to think anything. He's just gonna ref.
Yeah.
Because it was my birthday and I'm a mark, I wanted it to be special. So I intentionally had him as the referee for my match that night.
Yeah.
And we did something dirty there. And he's getting distracted. Now, this is timing, and this is a mistake was made. He was told he was good and to turn around a little too early.
Okay.
So he turned around and he blatantly watched me cheat. And we're winning the tag team titles this match from Dex and Sumo. And Sumo's flying back to Florida. And
Yeah.
Dex is going home to his baby. They're not wrestling again. We can't have a rematch.
Yeah.
We need to win the tag belts. So he's the referee. He watched us cheat. He should disqualify us, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I go, count the three. And he got down slow and went 1, 2, 3. And we turned it into a big brother bullying little brother storyline.
That's smart. Yeah.
You're with us now. You're our forced on manager. You're da da da. I started dragging him around. Um, I think in that moment is where he got the brainchild of maybe I'll start training.
Wow.
And then the Beyond Institute of Professional Wrestling bio opened up. Um, we're about an hour from there.
Yeah.
A little bit of a hike, but in turn, when you're talking about quality of training, he's going
Yeah.
to have to travel anywhere. So he's getting the best possible quality of training with the best resources and the right people looking out for him an hour away. It's an opportunity he had to jump at. I am super proud that he did it.
Yeah.
And he works a big boy job too. He's not a young kid who works a, part-time story. Like he is a 5 a.m. until 3 p.m. working construction Monday to
Wow.
Friday. He does good.
Now,
So it's a grind, dude. It's a grind.
for you, like, how cool is that you were trained by Thomas Santell and all these years later he is, and even to see him wrestle and transition to come into his own. I just seen the student show with Jermaine when he came out confident as ever. He's loving it right now.
Yeah, we have some like opponents now. That was another factor when he asked me about the training, and there were a couple things. We talked about different places and pros and cons, and um, the one thing I could definitely vouch for was the quality of training he was going to get. Tom was
Nice.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
He cares. He's going to be honest. If you have thin skin and you can't handle honesty, this is not the sport for you.
Yeah.
But he's not a jerk. He's going to be honest with you. He's going to be positive as well. And you're going to get quality professional training, and that's exactly what he's getting.
Nice. So when we talk about it, what does it feel like to team with him and eventually win the tag team titles with him? That must have been a special moment. I know you
That's
said your first one meant a lot, but this one must mean it too.
that one was very special. I think it was
Yeah.
more special for me than him, and that's his first title.
Yeah.
Now I know he's going to come at it from he's new to the business. He's my brother. He's riding coattails to that
Okay.
title. So I know I'm aware that's how he's going to feel.
Yeah.
Um, because that's how it'll be perceived. People don't put into consideration the fact that for a decade he did ring crew, for a decade he did flyering, that for 2 years he was a referee that we turned into a storyline, that he became our manager for over a year and a half. He cut promos, he slowly worked his way up, and
Yeah.
the crowd just bought into him so much that when he finally debuted as a wrestler, and then I babyface turned and we came together, the payoff of that story was we had to win the titles.
Nice.
Our story went from I bullied him to he walked away from me to I learned my lesson and I came back for him to save him. Our payoff was to win that titles. That's the
Nice.
end of that story. Um, and so I'm super proud of that one too, because that was that run of him joining and me manipulating him. And then AJ Cruz was really important there too, because he's my real life um, childhood friend, and he's trying to sock sense into my little brother that I'm manipulating, and my little brother finally chooses good over evil.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I'm really, really proud of it. And if that is the payoff and the end stamp to that storyline. It's also one of my favorite titles. Absolutely.
So you talk about stories. It's gonna pain me to say this, but when I post this coming Saturday, your final ever match, you go on the mic after, you lay the challenge down. You Tunis versus Tunis. Tell me about this one, man. What's going through your mind? Are you ready?
Chris, I'm ready.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm ready. I've had a bunch of injuries and like again, I'm not huge. My body's going a little bit frail. Once you get one, what I should have done is taken time off. I should have taken months off at a time to heal injuries and said I'd work through them and I would get another. I've broken my ribs 5 times.
wow.
It's the worst injury. Like
Yeah,
8 weeks of like you can't move or breathe.
yeah,
I've done it 5 times. I blown my knee out. I probably need surgery on both shoulders. I've gotten my teeth through my lip. Um, I'm 37 years old. I'm good with not waking up in the morning feeling terrible anymore. I'm okay
yeah,
with that. I don't mind waking up feeling terrible.
yeah,
It's part of the process. I've always done sports, but I'm looking forward to not feeling terrible. Um, and again, I feel like I've just like accomplished more than anything I thought I was going to.
yeah,
I have other roles in the business um that I can tend to. So it's not like I'm walking away. It might be different if it was just like you're done, you're gone,
yeah,
right? But I'm still going to be around. And I remember thinking, hey, it'd be really cool if I could do 10 years in this business.
yeah,
16. And I get to go out at the PvP 10-year anniversary show. I get to go out telling beautiful stories with amazing talent. Um, I've been treated with so much respect this past year, Chris. After COVID, I was like really curious if anybody would even know who I was anymore
yeah,
because I missed a couple years before COVID, and then there was a big turnover of talent. And I've just been treated with such respect. I feel like I'm completely satisfied. I don't have anything on the checklist that I need to mark off.
yeah.
I feel I can give back in other ways that are better, and I have other aspects of my life that I'm ready to devote some of this time and energy into.
Nice.
So there was a day I was it was one of Teddy Good's shows. It
Okay.
was each show that he did a couple years
Oh
ago.
yeah, I was on the call for that one.
Okay, so that was a stunningly beautiful day, and we were on the beach during like sunset.
Yeah.
Uh, Me and Bacon got to work with Miracle Generation over at Fenway, and then we came down to work
Yep.
to work with them again at Teddy's show. And I was just sitting there, and I'm like looking at the sunset. I'm a little artsy fartsy here. I get a little like I get a little emotional in these moments sometimes, and I'm like watching the sunset, and I'm like, I'm back from my injury. I'm 35 years old. I'm put in the match here with the most talented tag team maybe on the planet right now,
Yeah.
Miracle. Certainly in the Northeast, they're so unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm having a great match with them. I'm at this beautiful location. I'm like, I'm really happy with like what I've done here. And in that moment, I gave myself 2 years. That was May, almost
Okay.
2 years.
Yeah, May 2023.
Yep. And I felt like I was good there. And I said, what? I'm going to give myself a couple of years to go out and do a little bit more and get a few more of those matches and just knock it all off and leave with no regrets. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what I've done. I've worked a busy schedule for my age for the last couple of years. I've gotten to wrestle the best talent in the Northeast and some of the best talent in the country
Yeah.
at my age and experience and hang in there with them. That makes me proud. Um, I've taken everything in.
Yeah.
I'm good. Am I going to be sad? I'm going to be sad.
Yeah.
Miss it. Of course. But I'm going to be more proud and satisfied than I am sad.
Yeah.
I'm sad no matter what. I can wrestle for 50 years. I'm going to be sad. Um, but I'm in a good space and I'm prepared for it. And it's something I decided a little bit back and gave myself a little window to prep for. And I have other things to do. So, in my opinion, I'm kind of getting a little bit of a romantic ending here.
Yeah.
That's more from I get to wrestle my brother. Um, I got to wrestle Bacon this year. We got to have our last tag match with Waves and Girl. I've wrestled everybody I've wanted to wrestle. Matches with Sammy Diaz, right? Matches with Ryan Clay. Unbelievable talent.
Yeah.
So I'm really satisfied, and I'm going to take these. I have 5 matches left. 5 left. I got 3 at Wrestling Open, or 2 left at Wrestling Open. I got Test of Strength this Sunday.
Nice.
Um, and then Blood, Sweat, and Tears Wrestling down in Hampton, Connecticut. Me and Dustin Waller in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Last match will be April 26th.
Yeah.
PvP's 10-year anniversary show against the Upgrade J Tunis.
Yeah.
And win, lose, or draw. I'll be shedding some tears that night, but I'll keep my chin up, buddy.
Yeah, I say it all the time. When I heard you were first retiring, I couldn't believe it. Danny Miles the other day posted on Twitter that his tank is almost empty. It's all these guys I grew up watching, man. Slowly, one by one, it doesn't feel real yet for me.
Well, you're how old? 20?
Yeah, I just turned 20.
Enjoy it, buddy.
Yeah.
You know what it is, dude? It's the recovery time.
Okay.
So, you know, the longer you go, the more beat up you get, the slower that you heal from everything, and then injuries add up. And so I'm in a little bit of I'm in this weird space where honestly, I could probably do this for 5 more years if I wanted to be somebody who wrestled once a month.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. Um, I don't want to be somebody whose work slows down to the point of, oh, it's the old man. He can kind of still wrestle. I'm still in there in main events with some of the best guys, and people are enjoying the matches. And like my reputation there is like fantastic. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to become less of that. I don't want to be a shell of myself. But I also, my body can't maintain the schedule that it takes to stay in this kind of condition and keep going and stay fit. I need time off in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
And so if I take that time off in between, I won't be able to maintain. I'll become a shell. This is the time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
very few reach that, dude. I'm very
yeah.
proud of it.
You've had an impact on me. I've said it. However, I've ended every interview the same now. The day you decide it's all done in pro wrestling, which I hope you're still involved in, it's not anytime soon, but the day you decide it's all done in pro wrestling, what do you want Hammer Tunis's legacy in wrestling to be?
Um, I would like to be known as um I would like to be known as having a good mind,
Yeah.
having been safe. Bret Hart, I've never hurt anybody in 16 years. I've never injured anybody.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever had a concussion in wrestling.
Wow.
Um, because I value safety over anything else. Because at the end of the day, it's real life, and the fans know it's real life, and no fan wants to see somebody really get hurt.
Yeah.
Protect yourselves, more so protect the other person. I guess if I had to boil it down to one statement, I would like to be known as somebody who left the business better off than where he found it.
Yeah.
And if that's how I'm viewed for the rest of the time, then I'll be very proud of that. And then I will feel I've done my job.
Nice. Well, Hammer Tunis, I want to thank you for doing this, man. It was a long time schedule. We made it happen, bro. I want to thank you for everything.
I'm the
man.
worst. I'm sorry, man. Thank you for
No.
being patient with me.
Thank you for doing this, man. It means a lot. I told you, I used to draw you pictures, man.
I know we still have it somewhere. I'm having Bacon dig it up. He's got it.
Nice.
We laughed about it the other day.
Nice. Thank you for doing this, man, and thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
Chris, again, we'll catch up again, man. And when you're 21, I owe you a beer.
I will make it happen. Thank you for doing this, man, and thank you everybody for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.